Welcome to our lovely future humans, the 5D collective of mystics, spiritual, mindfully living, loving people with a body in connection and an integrated integrity brain. So the self-agents, those who do love to love, live, laugh, learn, expand, and not cast stones, and that is where our frequency is one that is considered modern and future to the mediocre person who consistently supports ignorance and also mediocrity and also conspiracies, and those are theories, all of the stories and evil stories and narratives, and just using Lucifer's name and demonic spirit name, and I bring human elements to spiritual and spirituality elements, which means subject matters, and I'm a spirituality person, mystic, mentor, content creator, podcast host, and science. I also look into science. And when some random human being interrupts and says, "You're confusing," I say no. So I bring them together because I'm an intelligent mind who owns my sense of self. And Maria is not any kind of buffoon, except for the ones who are actually buffoons to me, mediocrity. So non-bilaterally integrated brain people who are adaptive child part and believe in evil in a way of it being something that is embodied. No, I mean, really, Michael Stone gave us the best scale, and it's all people who end up in prison except for the 7 to 14 or 19. Where's my scale? Where, yeah, he spells out what they are, and I'm like, well, they're not really charming to smart, intelligent ones. But I have seen that ordinary shamans who are for the not intelligent brains of, yeah. So basically, teenagers is what I call the adaptive child part people. They follow each other around. Yeah, so I noticed that. That's why they think the word prophet or guru or enlightened one or spiritual master is like possessed by someone from, like, I don't know, ancient times. Yeah, so let me share with you, when it comes to true spirituality, they know, whether they call it grace, source, Akash, Anima Mundi, God, it's pretty smart. Yeah, no, not pretty, it's divinity. We can embody that divinity when we overflow with humanity, but there's no paradox between being fully human, fully divine, because you're not going to be the it, you know what I mean? So a true spiritual master, guru, and prophet in and of itself, channeler, downloader, intuitive of all, and you bring it all in, will say, okay, we, yes, are a part of that which is. We are not it. Oh, we don't serve either. We don't bow down to masters. We don't look up. We actually are in communion. I'm in communion with God, who is discerning equanimous love, and his child, Jesus, is my first and foremost guide. And then all the other archangels, yes, Metatron, Michael, you name it, Gabriel, I know, Uriel, they're all here, the galactic beings, forces. Again, I'm a mystic, mentor, content creator, podcast host, and when it comes to self-agent, supporting self-help, it's because bodies in connection. So 5D, we've been here. Yes, I was here when I was 0 years old, 1980. And so, by the way, what bleeds does not lead for the smart human being who has a bachelor's degree in political science and a master's degree in international relations and diplomacy. When I hear subject matter experts of not my field talk about conspiracies, I just think, thank goodness we have smart men like Bill Nye, or Nay, whatever his last name is, who mentions, really... the Matrix, if it's even real, you can never find out. And again, I come with God. It's not like you're it. You're not source. You're not divinity. Even when you're overflowing in your humanity, you are a pure piece of consciousness, but you still exist. I'm here. My implicit, explicit memory doesn't influence me. My 14-month-old, she don't rule me. I rule me. Ego, self-mastered, intelligent. Oh, also not deluded, no, by my imagination, which means when I get downloads and channeled guidance and messages and I see very many things, yes, past lives, future lives, astral travel, I do all of it. I don't get confused. And when there's 4D who are in my space and 3D and they actively want to, insult my brothers and sisters, I'm not really fond of that. Yeah, so you can't physically break free will. That's any spiritual being. Doesn't matter what era they may have come from. The moronic ones think they can do anything that is counterproductive. There's cosmic karmic balance. You will not be able to break shit. And so when you do meet one of faith, a real one who is not only a master, a guru, a expert yogi, all the words in the book, it's because we are in communion with that which is source, divinity, Akash. We are not it. We are in flesh. And on that note, there are no monsters in the bodies of people, because I told God when I was 19, I see cowards, God, but I didn't see a Lucifer. I do know what to look for. Oh, I'm 45. There are none. Yeah, there's no Lucifers except for people who think of using ancient philosophy and religious textbooks to keep on making buffoonery. Did you know that there are shamans for the unseen, unsoothed, unsafe, unsecure? So people who decide to dishonor their inner child and not go and get healed with Patrick Tiahan, a really good therapist. I don't support mediocrity, and that means I don't support anyone who wants to perpetuate any of that which is called transgenerational trauma in big grown-up words. And when I meet adaptive child part people and they follow each other around, they all make me think of the disciples of the monkey from the Jungle Boy, the Jungle Book, whatever that Disney cartoon is. Yes, so they all are the monkey and the monkey's disciples. They don't move into becoming enlightened ones, but we do have a Zen master who informs you of not being able to be in the frequency of enlightenment because he has laundry, which means he cries without his prefrontal cortex. So prefrontal cortex, when it is being used, thank you, Robert Sapolsky, with your book Determined, you've given everybody that is a coward an excuse for why they don't need to go to therapy, because you've made it sound like they have no choice except for live out the traumatized version of themselves. And that doesn't make me laugh. But I did accept defeat a long time ago. Fear does have a place in our lovely balancing. You get to choose if you want to be a group fearful or lover. Lover doesn't do let me project at you. Lover will actually know how to do this thing called the inner work that they don't talk about. Let me see. When have I felt empowered but not looked empowered? I'm always empowered one, because I know of God as discerning, equanimous love since as a kid. And then I know of Jesus, who told me to forgive, turn the other cheek, to be blessed, because I do know that my brothers and sisters, they have the very same heart that I do. And that's because I'm a nervous system that picks up on that. And that they're all angels. And then there's none of the monstrous fallen ones, because I've met all the people. So when I meet people, I know that they're one of two kind. They're lovers and therefore badass, or fearful ones, and I will pretend to not notice that they're fearful ones so that I may allow them to share their badassness, because that's what adaptive child part people who are self-righteous with childhood pain, anger, fear, and also sadness, that they don't want. They don't want to cry. They don't want to hug. In fact, they say, I just want it to be a world where it's not about what feels right, what is right. And they are cynics, and then they like to dismantle people who connect with feelings and cry on screen and call people friends. And they say, look, this is all propaganda. And you think, wow, you're a cynic. Your frequency is attracting all the ones that think like you. That's amazing. I'm happy you have a group together. So that's what real empowerment looks like when no one is watching, is thank goodness that they have each other to pat on the back. Flat earthers, it's so amazing that you can cheer each other on and ignore the fact that you didn't go and get your body connected and get an integrated brain, and that you're actually disregarding that you're hooked on shared fantasy drama, which is your, let me not even go there, the 0-8-year-old. They're all children. Which is why when NICABM shared their reel on, when someone thinks they can hurt my feelings, but I work with children, I'm like, yeah, tell me about it. But I work with no one, because I don't have people that come to me for the child's work. I'm a mentor for personal development, spiritual growth, personal growth. It's, I want to be me. And wow, Maria, teach me more resiliency, because it's really awesome to be a mindset that knows how to be true to my thoughts and feelings, not enmesh one day of my life, and know exactly what mediocrity looks like, bullshit conspiracies, as well as the fearful shame, blame, fault, revenge, not enlightened anyone's. They're completely ignorant with a low frequency of self-righteous, non-bilaterally integrated brain. And they'll interrupt and say that I'm confusing science spirituality when they're married to share. You got the kingdom of God right there in your fingertips. Oh wait, Dr. Amy Apigian mentions that some people, it takes time, even after therapy, to get the body in connection. So the feeling empowered but not looked empowered is when we silence ourselves. No, it's automatic. When I got a child in the room, let it speak so that it can get off. No, excuse me, you're confusing science spirituality. I'm gonna say no. as a grown-up does. I know what I'm talking about. No, because I'm a mystic too. Now they're comparing themselves. Terry Real calls it a losing strategy. I find it no strategy at all. Now I just know that there's a 5-step that they do. So once they say, I'm right, you're wrong, now it's let me give you all the proof. We all make sense to ourselves, myself included, because I got an ego. So now they give me all the proof. I'm supposed to do, I don't nod, I'm silent. No, I say, okay, let me try again. And then at the third time, though, when I have show and tell, I got Buddha over here, quantum physics. This dude shows me. So now I got show and tell. Like the 3-year-old really no, it's the 16-year-old. It's not the 3-year-old because they're ignoring their own 3-year-old. They're actually cowards again. So when you meet a teenager version of a person, it's the fight response, which is why they actually are cocky, quote unquote. I just know what I think, but my subjective reality doesn't need to be yours, which is why belief, what does that even mean? Excuse me. I have concepts that I might have read about. I believe in God, but I can't prove it, and I don't have to. He's okay with that. Because again, he taught me how not to play the know-it-all by the time I was 19. And then he kept on teaching me what suffering looks like, which is why Buddha and I have a thing where I make fun of the suffering bit. God tells me not to judge my brothers and sisters who suffer, a waste of my fucking time. And I say, God, but they're really annoying me. And he says, Maria, no, they don't annoy me. They annoyed me when I was a teenager. I learned how to grow up and leave alone those who are mediocre, who are ignorant, who are not intelligent. They also do not know that they are fearful ones, that there's no evil in this way of being a badass. And so when I'm watching movies, I'm like, yep, the good guys always win. That's why God always wins. And I'm not going to support any kind of conspiracy because really, my subject matter of expertise, I don't want to talk about it. I'm so smart, stable, mature, adaptive, rational, teachable brains. We don't do let's be cowards together. We do, yeah, we're going to hang out with science and spiritual ones who are enlightening by the minute, not actually in a small frequency, creating small little groups who yell at each other in very unnecessary. So 3, once you allow themselves to think they're being heard, because again, I learned as a young teenager how to do this because I really didn't want to argue. I'm not here to argue. I was just talking. So by the 3rd, so now they're gonna get off their chest. Thank goodness. So I ask actually, I'm like, okay, so you know what? Since how about you tell me what you were saying to this person? And so they tell me, as I see, we were headed the same way, so that's great. I'm going to go finish up my conversation. And I don't agree, but we were saying the same thing. I just say thank you for sharing, because actually you've shared a piece of you with me. And everyone is a piece of divinity, right? So there you go. And yes, we all are a piece of it, not it. So when someone makes it sound like they're a big badass because they're part of Source, it's like, wow. Are you actually playing God right now? Because it sounds like you think you are God, even though you're using the word source and divinity. And I am of God's children, and he told me it's okay. I don't have to do anything about it, but I'm just asking. No, I don't ask these people this. The minute someone tells me, we're anointed, we're special, we're 144,000, many will be called, but few will be chosen. Wow. All these egos, so insecure, they really want the floor to just let you know how much they love to be the spotlight of God. Wow, I mean, really, like I don't think they do know what it means to be able to be empowered, because they're really making it sound like we have to nod our heads, which I won't do because I don't do that shit. I will stand silently, and the minute that we get to step 4, how dare you not agree with me? You know, I didn't realize I was having to agree with you. You're stupid. It's okay. I do know we're speaking different words. I'm gonna leave. Yeah, you know, so that doesn't happen often. But when someone has pointed out, and that's been in conversations where I'm on a different side, no, I have a different opinion. I'm like, are you asking me to agree with you because I have to? You choose your side. I believe all humans are weak. And that's it. And actually, I don't believe that there's smarts in a lot of places. So if you mind, I'm under a roof eating. Where's the adversity? There is none right now. Real life trauma. Yes, I have a functional child adult. Not all of us continue with trauma charges for the rest of our lives. I mean, come on. Does anybody not know how to use their ventral energy? Yes, some of us do. So that's why when it comes to what does it mean to be mindful in the face of real life trauma, it's that I know how to use my nervous system. Number 2, injustice. Yeah, a lot of places, including me, having to put up with bullshit. Maria. So when I meet anyone who wants to play God, I can't tell them anything because I'd have to then spend more time talking to somebody who's mediocre, self-righteous, needs healing, not me. Get your ego in check and then come back around once you are actually aware of what God is. And source and infinity, which means you have humility, integrity, and therefore you are... Time, it would be kalale shule. Lower your fucking little flappy big chest. But I'm 4'9". I actually can't do any of that in front of a person because they'd pummel me to death. And I learned as a teenager, apparently the entire school bus wanted to beat me up. I know why, because I remember who I am. I learned how I got busy in life, and I didn't realize how many people would stay mediocre teenager versions of themselves, and I do feel bad for them. No, that's disrespectful. They consciously choose not to take themselves to Patrick Chan. As he points out, hurt people don't need to hurt people. They can go get therapy. And you don't raise your frequency and get out of childhood trauma. You just look like a little, I got it. I'm being chimed in because I forget that there's a place for everyone. Thank you. Adversity. So God is good to all his children, and he never gives them more than what they can bear. And trauma charges are stored in muscles, bones, and tissues, and I know all about it. Thank you, Peter Levine, for pointing that out, and thank you to smart people. So no, I don't support staying traumatized, but I understand that it's a personal choice and that some people will never choose in this lifetime to go to therapy. So their body will completely rot inside themselves with self-loathing, gut-wrench, torn apart in hell, and they will go on screen and say it's easier to be dead than alive, thinking they're channelers and downloaders, and I'll have to watch it. And notice their pseudo-liveness, which is not funny, that they can go heal with Bethany Brand and Ruthenius, who showed me what pseudo-liveness looks like, and they think that there are magical mental warfares, and you get to see something that looks a lot like El Dorado with a person telling you that they just saw something that they believe to be a real battle between a leader and another leader. And there was a sacrifice of an arm, and you think, wow, you are a human being from what year again? Because now you sound like the people I met as a teenager who were in the Scarlet Letter times, and I'm 45, and now I'm 43 or whatever. Oh my gosh, where are your colleagues? Oh, that's right, they can't say shit to you. Way shower. Way showing means showing others the way by simply awakening to and living your truth. Yeah. The truth is that those who have distorted selves are mediocre, they're ignorant, they believe in conspiracies, they use evil stories for each other, and they like to play superheroes, supervillains because some people get hooked on their drama. I'm not joking, and that's why they are drama kings and queens, just like Peter Pan in the second movie, The Hook. Yes, with Rufio and all that bullshit, and when you go watch any movie, it's all bullshit again. Yucky, visceral, people who are insecure. Now I need to remember that everybody has their own space. So this is not bypassing real life trauma, injustice, or adversity. I actually know what it means to use my nervous system and my integrated brain, and then when you spot someone who says, see, the studies show it. Narcissists aren't healable. But guess what? All my colleagues are against me. So what am I ever to do? Look, I have proof. Wow, that was not impressive. Kylie is a healing narcissist and borderline personality disorder person. And so there's also psychopaths who heal and sociopaths. And anyone who wants to say, my colleagues are all against me, on YouTube, sure, I already know who's following you. It's like who follows around the ones who talk about lack of imagination for evil. You must lack education and compassion, and above all. Oh, so if I don't look at you, your confidence is eroded. Impressive. You never went to work on that, huh? So yourself, I could just decide to ignore the complete bejesus out of you, and you are invisible to me, and now I've hurt your feelings, which you will actually think makes you what? Invincible? I mean, it doesn't have to be saluted. There's always healing for anyone who wants to become self-empowered. In the meantime, that's an unhealthy self-worth man. Has a wife. Who knows where the wife is? We never see her. Established poet. Established what? With money in his pocket. So human elements to spiritual elements and science. Science proves everything that I learned from God. You're all my brothers and sisters. You all don't have to be mediocre. The ones who are mediocre, though, you better bet they ain't interesting. So what does real empowerment look like when no one is watching? Like this. And then when we also know that we're empowered while not looking empowered, can empowerment coexist with doubt, softness, or failure? Sure. Yes. It's not doubt in a way that is, oh my God, I'm so helpless. What shall I ever do? So what I want you all to understand is that the people who have a body in connection don't feel helpless with sadness, anger, and fear. Oh, my panic attacks still do wonders to help me become resilient. So I don't complain. I try not to complain when I get them, because my light body continues to expand. Because when ascension energies are about, our light bodies do continue to expand. And so you're not confused. You don't lose your place, and you don't think it's because of any one of us spiritual ones that you can be connected to God. You're connected on your own, with or without me. You don't need subliminal messages. You don't need a magical baton. And when I see children thinking that they are needed, I just say, wow, you don't realize you're not an expert yogi yet, or spiritual master, or enlightened one, or guru, or mystic, or anyone who's channeling with your prefrontal cortex the minute you think you're needed. Hey, ego, did you need a hug today? Did your mommy or daddy or someone forget to look at you? Because the minute that you think that someone needs you to be connected to God, you've just played the know-it-all in a way that is, I didn't need to learn that one. The know-it-all is of, I know a lot of things, and then I don't know all things, and then I just can spot insecurity a mile away. No, I'm a nervous system, so are you. So I'm a clear one, though, because I don't have Maria's insecurities. There's none. I'm a cockroach. My mom still loves me. I got disowned by my twin, so I got my securely attached figures. I got to deal with my business. My baby sister, she's my baby sister, so I just spoil her to death. And that's why you're first alloparenting. That's it. Everybody else is bonus. Don't you know? Everyone is a bonus in life. We only need one human being to live with a bear, to be able to fulfill that longing. I don't have a longing because I have a twin, and I have no fear of being alone because she's my identical twin, which means we shared one sack. Oh, by the way, do any of you know about LBLT? Yeah, so I did mine. I got to choose the mother, and I chose her on purpose. And then I said, okay, I need two of me and my lovely guardian angel, my twin. And then the masculine, yes, I got to close out karma. It's really fun. So yeah, I'm going to live Dharma for the rest of my future lives. I'm already in Dharma now. I'm a feminine. I'll always be feminine. I really don't want to occupy the masculine element at all. It's very boring. Empowered masculines are nice to be around. Every other one of them is pretty much where, yeah, way shower is a part of the New Age spiritual lexicon to help describe a specific experience that many people are living in and through at this moment. A way shower is one who embodies the qualities that he wishes she or they others absorb. Yes, I wish and hope everyone will be able to absorb their ventral energy. No, not everyone wants it. This is why some people don't like me. When you're a securely attached, healthy, self-worth human being, people who are insecure will have their attachment wounds flare up. And then they will think of neutrality as dangerous, positivity as fake, and loving as not real. Actually, they will consistently doubt kindness, and then they will think of unkindness as true. And they will be, like Peter Levine points out, a bird with a broken wing who heads on over to a cat, which is why... Why does the wellness industry often ignore? We don't ignore systemic and cultural trauma. We know some people don't go and get healed. This is a whole different story, in favor of positive vibes only. And that the people who don't understand that positive is not what we're doing. It's called, I can find a silver lining in anything that you present to me. And I'm not clear why I should support mediocrity and mediocre brains that don't know how to use two sides to see beyond themselves and figure out how to bring a solution. Because emotions last 90 seconds when you're using your prefrontal cortex. Zen master, you in laundry, you're Zen, you're not a Zen master. You should give back your title. But again, I forget, not all my brothers and sisters want to rise up, and therefore they don't want to learn how to be in their higher frequency. No, they love to be in their self-righteous freaking little small energy. And I wish I was a big monster, but I can't be a big monster because that's exactly what I am not needed like that in this lifetime. I'm not even needed actually at all in this lifetime. The scientists have everything taken care of. They do. That's why it's married with spirituality. The ones who don't like it, I know who they are. They don't have a special place anymore. And they think somehow that God could be threatened. I mean, really. The fact that anyone thinks that God would not win, I'm just like, you really don't know what the word must mean. I mean, and the ones, they really try hard. And I don't know how to take a joke sometimes. No, I don't know jokes. And I don't like when people are mediocre. It's always been annoying. I have a pet peeve. Don't waste my time with gibberish jabberish. I don't want to be mediocre. I got rejected at 4 because I wanted to sit boys down and read to them. 4. Thank you, Robert Sapolsky. This is my personality pattern and temperament, and I'm a securely attached person. Don't waste my time with nonsense. I only have 24 hours. I won't leave the earth with the lack of expanding that which is anything and everything. So future humans can tell the difference, yes, between fake and true spiritual masters, yes. And that's because the light that will carry on will become the consciousness of all. So while the 4D, 3D maintains their low frequency because they choose to disregard getting their body in connection, I am here to let you know that the ones who are bodies in connection, we don't do self-righteous. The self-righteous, mystic, spiritual, and dogma-driven, insecure, emotionally immature person has a biased ego that they don't even learn to become aware of. It's very unpleasant to meet so many peacocks who you can't beat up. Even if you did, it doesn't matter, which is why it's not even about correcting. I would just pummel them all. I just would, but I wouldn't. It's not nice. Also, that's egoic, and God doesn't like that. So again, you get free will because that's, again, what spirit offers. Science says you don't have it. So science allows you to be able to just sit back and stay with trauma, except for the ones who say, no, we can do more. Thank you, Patrick Tian, for helping those who want to heal, and the brave ones. And Dr. Daniel Fox for helping brave narcissists like Kylie and borderline personality. And thank you to Dr. Daniel Siegel, of course, because without his work, IPNB, PDP framework, there would be a lot missing. Bezel Vanderkolk, thank you. Stephen Porges is still doing research. Janina Fisher, so they're all amazing. And even though they don't consider themselves spiritual masters or gurus or prophets, I bet you're bottom that they are. But that's okay, because secular, again, and science doesn't go against God. God created us just the way we're meant to be, which is why the idiot follows a hypocrite who tells you to live the Scarlet Letter times and ancient books. Idiot, I-D-I-O-T, because again, mediocre people, I don't want them here. I'm not smart in all things. I am smart in spotting adaptive child part people. They just want pats on the back. They don't want to do the work. They just want love. I don't do that. I don't do let me love you. I love you unconditionally. I don't pat you on the back. And I don't hang out with unhealthy self-worth people because they don't know how to have smart conversations. I'm not joking. Their conversations are mediocre at best. They don't move into anything expanded with intellect because they're not curious. They're cocks who fight each other on proving who's right. This is a very limited, not interesting conversation to a person who says, okay, reality is that your cherishable beliefs and mine are both potentially falsifiable. Reality is that I and you are not subject matter experts in everything. Reality is God is invisible and so is dark matter, dark energy. Reality is if you're anywhere near smart, you're going to have an enjoyable time. Even when you come from opposite ends of politics, religion, it doesn't matter. You're just going to continue exchanging what is a very pleasant, expanded, egoic, yes, conversation, because that's what empowered egos do, that are intelligent minds. Mediocre ones actually begin conversing with right, wrong, and then they have to have sides. And they're all disciples of no one. Because they all don't even know how to be leaders of themselves. Because the minute that you're beginning to do it in this very childish way and thinking that it's black and white, I'm already like, okay, you missed out on growing up and staying with your adolescent essence. Yeah, so we leave it alone. Self-righteous people, they don't navigate like the enlightened ones do. We have an embodied brain, mind, body that is in connection. We are self-led with self-agency and healthy self-worth. We are self-aware of our own biases. We are accountable of all of it with equanimity. So if somebody points out my tone, they point out anything, I was okay, I'm pausing. So that's why I'm always empowered. I may not look empowered always because I don't argue with anyone. because I don't want to. I'm having a nice conversation. I didn't mean to piss you the fuck off for no other reason except for you don't know how to use an intelligent brain. And then when I ask with all the politeness in the world, don't involve me in bullshit conversations, and people want to allow themselves to keep trying, it's no. See, this is the unfortunate business of what pathologies are. So, the dark sides of neuroplasticity, when you don't have empowered nervous system ownership, you don't know how to wield yourself. You're reactive, which is like having a child that you have to repeat yourself to consistently, which definitely is something annoying, but it's also something you learn to put up with, like people who put up with me. And therefore, it's all good. We all will have Ice Age, Manny, Diego, Sid. That's the whole point. So how do you discern between authentic intuition and ego-based desires when making life decisions? Just like I did right now. And also with God chiming in to remind me not to judge my brothers and sisters, a waste of my fucking time, the ones who suffer life. And then to remember that not everybody is going to achieve intelligence or discerning egos. Yeah, and they won't because they don't regulate in self-love and acceptance. So again, it's not funny, but future humans do spot the spiritual masters, gurus, prophets, enlightened ones, spiritual influencers of now, because we navigate the same frequency. We also notice the ones who are not it just yet, but we leave it alone because again, they might change their mind and move into becoming the embodiment of their own piece of divinity by supporting for their self to get intelligent, integrated brains, embodied bodies connections, and so they won't be around the conspiracy people. I mean, no, we'll be around all people. We just be like, okay, that's your opinion, cool, that's it. In ignorance, okay, we have ignorance. I'm ignorant on some things. Oh, look, mediocre. I'm definitely mediocre. Ask me to run a mile, ask me about numbers. So the future humans, we use mystic, spiritual, mindful, living, loving people, intelligent minds that marry spirit and science, because we do know, again, how they work together. And with that, let's see, do I have any more stories for you? Not right now. Right now, I will share with you a quote by Sadhguru. Good intentions are not enough. It takes the right action performed with the right consciousness to produce the necessary results. And integrity, what other people say about you doesn't matter, but you should not be ashamed of what you have done. So while I will have the capacity to respect all my brothers and sisters, because really that's what I got taught by my mother, it's what I got taught by my catechist, it's what I got taught by Jesus and God. So from a spiritual perspective, I already know that I know how to do it the right way. And I know that that's really petty to say I do it the right way and you do it the wrong way. The energy is so small, it's not even funny. You can tell the small ego, because you would be a person who has introception if you are still here. The 5D collective knows all about how to perceive the inner body, because we own the sense of self. So again, you're owning who you are. Your emotions, your thoughts are fun for you to navigate. You are a person who has the overflowing of humanity, because again, divinity is that energy. But you also are what is called a person who has no trauma charges that come up. They come up as emotions. You work with your nervous system. So we have selflessness, timelessness, effortlessness, and richness. And when the effortlessness comes into the mix, body feels a little wonky. There's also trauma charges and memory that releases from the body. As Peter Levine explains, it's in a gradual way. Trauma is stored in bones, muscles, tissues. And so God, like I said before, I think doesn't ever give you more than what you can bear, which is also why I keep on mastering the physical mastery of Maria, because I'm still working on not judging my brothers and sisters who are suffering a waste of my fucking time. They're a pet peeve. It's not about them being good or bad. There's no monsters. I'm not afraid of evil. They're not evil people. They're people who need help. All of them. And they end up in prison because that's what stupidity means. Catch me if you can. He was a moron. He got caught. That's how I feel about anyone who's breaking the law. Idiot, idiot again, idiot again. What difference are you going to make in jail? Excuse me. So if you want to tell me you want to make a difference, then you make a difference a smart way. It's not by being mediocre. If you don't know health, balance is key. If you don't know common sense, I got to college people fucking and miserable. There's no reason for it. Oh, I'm sorry. Securely attached people are smart, and we do choose who we are going to engage in using our time. It's called healthy self-worth. And I was told that I was a snoot by my BFFF until she met me, and I said, I'm not a snoot, I'm just confident. Now I know, and I'm a 45-year-old woman who can tell you what happens when people meet confident human beings who have healthy self-worth. I get to stare at you with my entire prefrontal cortex. You get to stare back at me. Difference is, if you have a speck, even a little tiny speck of any attachment wounds, they will flare up. And if you have a body that is not in connection, then you'll look at neutrality, positivity, and any of my smiles as, there's something fishy about that bitch, or something like that, which is okay to me because I don't need protection from God. When I hear 4D say, rejection is protection from who? Source, one energy. Didn't you remember you're learning things from each other? Where's your consistency? Did you just say that that side is a bad side and you're the good side? I think we have some teams going on. Are you the good team or the bad team? Wow. Okay. How many more different stories do we want to hear from those who are doing teenager life? Because again, that's exactly why I spot them. Narratives, they're only for children. Conspiracies, that's for the people who are, again, pseudo-live, and they don't also know a lot about subject matters, like in general. When I hear subject matter experts, I can tell, because I have a brain that's listening to them with a body that's connected. I'm not there listening with an agenda. I want to hear what they're teaching me. Then when they start with their stories, I know when the stories are in, then I can sift through the data, then I can hear the data, and then I can know where the experts are at, which is actually fascinating. I just recently was able to do that. When I got a shaman for the comedians, I'm like, sure, bring it on. No, not really, but you know what, whatever. They won't want ventral energy, but they will love to be at ease when they can rest a little bit. And then that's it. So some people, they become empowered and friends, and others don't become friends, which is okay, but it's not because anybody is a danger to the other. So yes, God gives us what we can bear. God is good, and Source and Akash, and morons and not smart people are idiots who follow other idiots around. And I do need to remember that there's a lot of ignorance. So spread the word. There's a lot of smart people who are letting you know about subject matter experts and more, who will give you one of two ways. If you're a whole brain, you don't assimilate information with what you would want to hear. You actually enjoy learning. It's a whole different way. When you are an empowered person, you don't tell somebody about what is the truth. You share with someone and you talk, and then you continue exploring and having fun. When you meet people who don't know how to have fun, you leave it alone because they don't hear. So I don't engage in any of mediocrity because I'll spot it. Even though sometimes I might want to engage, sometimes it will be, nah, I can tell how it's going and I don't want to participate in that. But you know, we don't make a difference in each other's lives because of us being needed. We make a difference because we stand as an example to each other of accepting differences, and then remembering everybody has a different way that they will lead through life. We can't make people heal from their trauma. That's actually quite painful on all accounts, which is where I can tell you science always humbles a true person of faith, because they explain to you how humans are made. And so you'll sit there and just cry for people. Then you'll recognize that they don't give a shit about their health. Why should you give a shit about their health? And that's why I don't find it disrespectful to call someone a drama king or queen, because I see them all the time. They continue to ignore Patrick Chan, and then they give themselves fancy titles like a Zen master who talks about enlightenment not being possible and has laundry, or some other dude who thinks he's a better Christian Catholic by talking about yoga bringing demons out of you. How do you actually walk around with your head held high with an ignorant mouth? I'm beyond a shadow of a doubt a person who has no patience for mediocre hypocrites, especially the ones who think they're actually better of a name holder. You obviously must not honor the actual word, Christ, or that which you will have thought upheld something. This is the sad part. If you actually think that those which you said yes to upheld something. You know what I did when I was 19? Besides saying no Lucifer, I said, God, the ones that have cloaks, they hurt children physically and emotionally. And then this Lucifer thing is nowhere to be found. They continue to talk about bunch of bullshit. I can't follow people who are not doing what I got taught you stand for, and they are a disgrace and they are a dishonor. And in the meantime, they continue to do so. The Dalai Lama recently made a calling, and if they don't do anything about it. I won't be surprised, but I won't be like, wow, let me dishonor every single part of what was my good Christian Catholic upbringing. No. So what? Because mediocre people hold a word and are yelling out their bullshit, we stand down. You know, when people turn their back on what they will have chosen. I've seen a lot of the ones who said that they went from having faith to not having faith. How did you do that? So what? Because you saw the bad Christian Catholics, you decided not to believe in it at all? Like you must have not. This is where the inconsistency for me is anyone who will have left and stood down based on words, but then you want to call them, you still want to keep them in a box. So it's limited consciousness people don't know how to actually take ownership of something and then to stand and say what you stood for, and also not to remember books are books. I mean, a theologian went out of his business to make Reiki out to be bad energy, and I'm like, any smart human being will know that it's bullshit. And that person thinks in their small, mediocre mind that's non-bilaterally integrated, cognitive dissonance, structural dissociation, you have a body in protection, you're actually wielding your mouths, building your little breadcrumb of trails, because I can make sense to myself just as much as anybody else can, but they are actually in this, wow, you actually think you're doing something, and there's your self-righteous, low frequency, ignorant brain for ignorant people. Because ignorant brain, ignorant people, I want it to be a world where it's not about what feels right, what is right. That's exactly what a non-bilaterally integrated brain person will look like and sound like to this human being here. The people who have a lot more compassion and patience and all of that, I learn from them. That's why I'm trying to integrate the human element to the best of my ability to the spirituality, and let you know science has it all figured out. That's why I told God we're not needed, but I do want to stay and stick around. And people who follow mediocre people, they won't be here because that's exactly what they want to hear, that there's a special group, versus how about you look yourself in the mirror? How about you look at every single person in the mirror and know that a leader will bring people together, not apart, and that a leader is smart enough to know that there's one ball and that oxygen is one. And like, just there's a lot of different things. So I'm just going to let you all know. Anyone who's yelling at anybody is mediocre. Anyone who has common sense is going to figure out where the gaps are and how to fill them. And then again, anyone who is on a high frequency is part of that first wave of 5D. We've been here for a while. I just didn't know how to put it into words, because when I moved into knowing that the 5D collective would be here and our timeline, I thought 3D, 4D would go away, because I do have faith in all my brothers and sisters, because you're all capable. And I had to reconsider, no, of course not. There's no way in hell that I'm going to give up on 8 billion people, but the timeline did say that 3D, 4D would settle into that, and it makes sense because of how hard it is for someone to actually admit to themselves that they need to go to therapy, that they need help to get that body into connection, and that integration is a process. It takes 6 to 8 weeks for one new neural synapses or whatever to be created. Neurogenesis, Dr. Daniel Siegel explained it to me. And then from that, there's the laying down of myelin. And then from that, there's the refractory period, a resting period. And then that will be that first set has settled in. So you using the bright sides of neuroplasticity, the body in connection, you being able to do mindful mindset, and so owning sensations, images, feelings, or behaviors, affects, which are feelings, emotions, and manners, or meanings, that takes your desire and want. So again, it's not that simple. It starts with the person though, and the person wanting to live a life of meaning and connection beyond the solo self. Thank you, Dr. Daniel Siegel, for the definition of spirituality, which he got because he got invited to a conference, because he is spirituality, even though he's like, but I'm science. But you're living a life that helps more than just yourself. And so when you see true brothers and sisters of God, they will know source, grace, Akash, that we are all it, a part of it. And that those who, thank you, Sadhguru, overflowing humanity embody divinity, because they will embody pure common sense with a clear brain in the prefrontal. Thanks, Robert Sapolsky, with your book Determined. And if they're not here yet, then they don't have to be, and they're going to have their fearful, coward leaders. And they're not leaders in my book. They're mediocre at best. But I understand, which is why I'm still judging human suffering a waste of my fucking time. But as God keeps chiming in and Buddha makes fun of me, and I keep on settling in with the information of what a mediocre, not self-agent does, and continue sharing with you all, yeah, I don't want to be around them. Do you want to be around morons? Because seriously, they're not fun. They're not even enlightening. Nah, they can be cute. Cute. It doesn't do much for the brain that wants to be more. And so with that being said, we all have Manny, Diego, Sid, and we can all be one or the other to others, because again, that's the part. Everyone is going to be interacting with the other in a way that they will see you and you will see them. And the people who are with confident egos don't actually cancel each other out. This is ridiculous. They don't take it to the, oh, I'm so sensitive. Yeah. People who cancel each other, they can't handle people's differences. But some people are not ready for that. So that's why, again, everybody has a different journey. The 5D collective, we're doing good. We're happy. We're in the future. We're in the present. And we'll keep on looking at these lovely questions and having lives. So YouTube lives, TikTok lives. What does success look like when measured by soul growth rather than achievements or recognition? Your soul grows when you are your true self. And so what it looks like is that you can understand that we all have areas of frustration, and that we all would want to see a better world with love and kindness and compassion, and that the ones who don't believe that that's actually what the world is going to look like and should look like, they didn't get that. So till death do part, sickness and health, for better for worse. They didn't get someone who knew how to show them what that meant. They don't know how to love themselves first. They know how to perform. It's a circus act, like my facade friend. I asked you, it's be yourself. That's why I don't yell at people in their face. And I didn't need any protection throughout my lovely years of expansion. Nope. I've had people in my energy sphere. Yeah, and I've also had other things. And when I found out what I found out about all the trauma stuff, I was like, okay, thanks God for keeping me away from the people that I probably with my little stare would have annihilated. Like, I think I would have laser focused somehow, because it would not have been any kind of, so I got attachment trauma educated and found out why people don't know how to be their self. When people get afraid, they look outside themselves for help. I don't need to, I got God. I don't look outside. Plus I'm a 4'9" woman. I don't need help unless I do, and if I do, then it means I got myself in a situation. So this is the part when people don't feel helpless with being sad or being mad or being afraid. The panic attacks definitely gave practice, because it's really shitty to have them. Oh my God. But I won't complain about them, because as an Akashic record reader and downloader again, and spiritual one, I do know about soul age groups. And so I'm like, you know what? I know that I'm in the Enlightenment Soul Age group. I'm at the top of the Akash book. I'm definitely in the love frequency. All of my trauma charges, all my stuff is closing out. I'm doing Dharma. My future is going to look really bright, but all those other soul age groups have a whole different story going on, and countries have also soul ages. So I'm just like, I need to remember that, one, it's a personal choice for people to go and get therapy. Two, that the world continues to move along its own Dharma, and 3, God has everything taken care of course. That was action number 1. And 4, yeah, here we will have all the lovely 5D frequency people, and it's just people who are grounded in reality, knowing that candlelight illuminates the damage beneath the feet with wave of lights. I've never walked one day in the foot of anybody's body. And the ones who don't think twice when they tell a person of faith that we don't know what we're talking about, or a person who says emotions are easy for me, or anything, they will not have thought, am I actually wanting to tell another human being how they think and feel of life and all of what their opinions should be by using words? I am a 3-year-old who's a differentiated self. You can't spank me. It's my body. And I'm a 16-year-old who looked in people's faces and said, you're calling humans crap. You're a human. I guess you think you're crap, huh? No, not me. Just something. Nah, I don't know. I think you think you're crap. No. So I learned how not to do any of what I actually know. If you crap on yourself or humanity, if you have anything negative to say that doesn't have a proactive solution, you're just blah, 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 blah. And I know that what I got is a person who doesn't know how to do life. So there's nothing impressive there. Mediocrity will spit out bullshit, not give you anything to do with it. And I'm thinking, then why are you talking? Well, when I'm actually just enjoying a conversation without trying to make a point, and someone's like, why are you talking? Because I'm sharing with you my thoughts. Why are you not trying to convince me? No, actually, I didn't realize this was school. I only prove in school. I don't prove here. And so, again, it's nice to be a grown-up, functional child adults. We just have fun. It's called the adolescent essence. With an integrated brain, it stays alive. Thanks, Dr. Daniel Siegel. You have a whole self. So the adolescent essence is essential spark, social engagement, novelty, and creative expression. And then because you're an integrated brain, your brain works, 3,000 times faster? Something like that, which is why emotional, mental, and physical intelligence is what the integrated brain, securely attached, non-traumatized person is, the future humans. While the ones who have slower, they can use the bright sides of neuroplasticity, which is why in 15 minutes you can, thank you, Laura LeConf, fix your destructive mindset with our daily practices, the ones from the paid subscribers, which you integrate. You are already on a roll with using the inner growth mindset, but if you need to fix the destructive one, she talks about a bunch of different destructive ones. So the survival mode of the cynical, like the I want a world where not about what feels right, where is right, that guy. No curiosity, no ambition, even though he has ambition, basically getting famous off of dismantling other people. Escapists, they have no ambition, they're curious, but they escape responsibilities with like a lot of other stuff. Perfectionistic, they high ambition, low curiosity, and really when you're cut off from Purusha, pure consciousness, and Prakriti, pure energy, you have 5 categories: the monkey brain, dull brain, the butterfly brain, enamored with oneself brain, and the enamored and one focused. So I can spot those golden nuggets from a lot of different. Anyways, experimental mindset is what she suggests, which uses a scientific method, so you grow every step of the way. With the inner growth mindset, you're growing every step of the way because you're doing spiritual growth, personal growth, and you do like to use your nervous system again in the ventral vagal state, and you know your values, and your values are that you will respect others even though they may not be like us. We're not like them, okay? And intuition says, no Lucifer evil in any person's body. Patrick McNamara proves it, and he's going to continue proving it. Jesus, awesome man, and so is God, and so are all the angels. And I just love bringing to you the 5D mystic life in the Enlightenment Soul Age group and the human elements, so that I can give you human stuff with spiritual and spirituality, make it more tangible, and say, hey, science has it all figured out. We're not needed. But we like to be here, so the future's looking great as our luminous warriors are here with healed bodies and open beloved hearts. So we'll be back again with more. Thanks for stopping by. Have a good one.